the early inhabitants of the earth plane understood that we are all one with aspects of other things. That is a fundamental understanding that, we are the grass, we are the snails, we are the lizards, we are the, birds, that there is no I am the only one.
Yeah.
It is that we have different expressions to make the picture beautiful. And so the thought that there can only be one is just
See
mass
what I mean?
separation. Welcome to Call for the Truth. I am LaOta of the Sun, and this is Tarvars of the Sun, and we will be inviting you to join us in a discussion about the divine masculine and divine feminine today. So, Tavares, will you bring us into the Call for Truth?
Most certainly. And we encourage you all who are tuning in with us to call for the frequency of truth. Shall we call forth the frequency of truth? Shall we call to see the truth in all that we see? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we call to speak the truth, calling forth the courage to speak the truth? Shall we call forth nothing less than the truth to come forward into our experience? And the truth is here, the truth is present. And for those who are tuning in, if you want to
Yeah.
continue to join us in the call for the truth, click that like, that subscribe, that bell notification for all the alerts. You can join us every Thursday for a live stream at 12 noon, every Saturday, high frequency living at 7 p.m. Eastern. And so we are here, Louts of the Sun. We're talking about divine feminine, divine masculine, the importance
Absolutely.
of the two making the one. And there are a lot of different routes we can go. I'm sure we're going to go on quite the adventure. So, where would you like to begin things in terms of this conversation?
Why don't we begin at the beginning?
In the beginning,
So, we have had several discussions about the divine masculine and feminine in the past, and we have pointed out that creation made two polarities, and one polarity is the divine feminine, the other is the divine masculine. They are one idea, one polarity of creation that allows for life to take place, especially on the earth plane and in the physical reality. So, we want to go a little deeper today and really explain what is the divine feminine? What is the divine masculine? So, we understand, and it is true, that the divine feminine has everything within it. And that just as the earth has everything within it, and that the divine masculine, just like Father Son, has the power and the assertive direction to move forward with all of the things that are in the everything. So it is the everything is the plan, so to say. It is the imagination, it is the blueprint. And then the sun gives life and direction to that. So those are the ideas that I'd like to explore today, if you're on board with that.
let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it. So, we have recently received communications from both divine masculine and divine feminine, and there are some fresh perspectives. Some of you may have some understanding of this, some of you may not. But the importance of recognizing how to work with both polarities for everyday life, most importantly, manifestation, bringing into reality. We've also seen in the communication or transmission that both male and female have been taught to disassociate or reject the true essence of the divine feminine and the divine masculine within us. So it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're male or female, there isn't real adherence based upon history, all the different things that have happened. We, we don't necessarily have to go into the details, but clearly there has been a concerted effort that has conditioned us in such a way where we reject those polarities and the expression. Another thing I'd like to speak on and then get your take on this is in some of my research in different spiritual understandings or bodies of knowledge, when they speak about the masculine and feminine, they speak of it as though they are clashing and at war. This proverbial fire and ice energy, water and fire like clashing, red versus blue. We see this perpetuation of these polarities at war, and I'm like, I don't think that's the way. And we heard directly from divine feminine, divine masculine, that's not the way.
Right.
It's what I refer to as a user interface error, where who the perception of the different people throughout time looking at these polarities, they saw it from whatever level of understanding. And the greater understanding is they're together. They're working in tandem, not battling. And I think that they're only at war when you're at war within yourself, within both polarities. Would you speak on this idea?
And this is so multidimensional. I mean, you're speaking about it from different perspectives. Several things you said speak to different times in history and different
Yeah.
perspectives. So many millions of years ago, those who are anti life, who are still against humanity, against life, against creation, against what is organic and what has been created, they begin this process of making sure that the masculine and feminine were not supported by each other. And so we are all familiar with the masculine in detriment because we're in the middle of many wars. That's one of the signs that the masculine is in detriment, is the idea of aggression, war, um, ideas of abandonment, ideas of abuse. This is the masculine in detriment. It is not the masculine in its purity of creation. In the same way that the divine feminine is not properly represented in its uh, elevation either, and that each is dealing with the other, and they are one thing with two polarities. So the memory of the people who exist today are operating on the memory of their right now and their past and their ancestral past and their understandings of we hear jokes like, if you were going to be in the forest, which would you be more afraid of, a bear or a man? This is the masculine in detriment, and it is a truth that most people would say they're more afraid of the man than the bear. So this is what has happened in the absence of the harmonious balance that must be maintained for the new world. So here we are at the moment in time where the plan that was put afoot millions of years ago to make sure that we could not create a new world, a new human, and have a new earth, it had to do with the distortion of the masculine and the feminine. So we're now at the point where all of the plans that have been afoot for millions of years are in play, and our response, our ability to be balanced and free, would mean that we would have to see through to the original blueprint. And it's not so hard as the feminine because we have the babies, we have the child, we see the blueprint before it becomes contaminated. So we can see the divinity in creation, but it loses coherency as the child grows and as we move through time. And then the impression on our world is that there's this untrustworthiness, there's this fear of the masculine and not really understanding what the masculine is, when in fact, the masculine is the perfect response in creation. The divine feminine, as is the earth, holds all things. The divine masculine holds the way, the architect holds the way to build from that everything. And in that, manifestation may take place because the feminine is the vision and the masculine is the builder. And then the world may be built. But we don't see it that way. We
We
don't have a clue.
no, not at all. And even when we do, there's a lack of follow through and real engagement or embodiment of these primordial energies, cosmic energies. So you brought something to mind when you were saying we've been brought to this perfect condition that's relative, based off of anti-life, getting us to this point where we don't know who the hell we are. We got cosmic abandonment. We don't know who our mama is or daddy is cosmically, and I see where the cosmic parentals are the divine masculine, divine
Right.
feminine, which exists within us. I think it's no different than us being the offspring of our biological mothers and fathers and how their genetics exist in us. And then of course cosmically it's in there, right? But we don't see it. Now, this idea of the fear of the masculine, and you're like, that's what would be needed. I'm looking at life and I'm like, of course we need the masculine. Of course we need action. If you think about spirituality, like I was listening to this Indian dude speak, and he was talking about what happened with the fall of India and through the spiritual systems. And he's like, the kings and the emperors, they got too up in the Maya and the spiritual, and they lost that warrior aspect of protection, and like they got taken over. And so the masculine component is needed, and we need that feminine component clearly, and this idea of the vision and then the action to follow through. I think these are very important components. Would you speak a little bit about how our capacity to visualize something new, i.e., tap into the feminine to create a new reality, and then also match that with the action of the masculine has been stunted?
Oh, absolutely. But I'd like to go back to what you said about, I think you mentioned the masculine as relates to protection. I'd like to offer my understanding is that it is not the way that that's backwards. It is the divine feminine's love that protects everybody. It's not the way we think it is. It's not war that protects us. It's love that protects us. A mother loves her children. She loves her home. She loves her husband. They are protected. We've lost that since. We think you got to have guns. You got to, yes, we may need to build a fort. You may need to make a slingshot. You may need to get a bow and arrow, but it is the love in the family from the divine feminine, from the earth itself. Look outside. The earth itself protects us and gives us life. We still get food. We still get oxygen. We still get all the things the earth gives us. We still have the air, which is the divine feminine for sure, which is life itself. So all of this is a misunderstanding. The masculine is the uh, architect of all of the plans that exist in potential in the divine feminine. The divine feminine is the visionary who envisions the beautiful, exquisite experience of life on earth, or life within her family, or life within the home. And it is that vision that then the man comes in with the know how to manufacture, to structure, to make the environment from the things that exist within the divine feminine. It's beautiful. It's a really beautiful story. I'm not sure if I got lost in the question, though. You were asking
Well,
something else.
you wanted to, yeah. So you respond to the first part. The second part was essentially what you just said. So you just laid the foundation, a deeper foundation of how they work together. Feminine vision, the blueprint.
Right.
The masculine takes action, creates structure, form, right? That follow through on the
Direction. It's
correct.
direction.
Yeah, hence
Yeah.
that linear, right? So what I was asking was, or bringing forth was, I see that our capacity to visualize something different, something new than what we've been conditioned through media, film,
Yes.
a regurgitation and
Yes.
repetition of history. That's all we know. You often say Superman 54, like we keep repeating. And I saw this. I don't want to go too far off on a tangent, but I saw this clip on social media of this couple looking at these movie billboards, and it was Jurassic Park again. It was Smurfs. It was Superman, and it was. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and they're like, "Damn, are we going through a reset again?" Like they're doing it again, and so everyday people are noticing that we're within this loop, this broken loop right now, and uh, our I can also see our engagement with such dampens our capacity to visualize. It's like we give it away. But would you elaborate a little further on this concept?
This is so pertinent. It's such a perfect example of the couple standing in front of the billboards. When we don't know what we want, we know we like what we know. We see Batman, that's all we like. We only want to see Batman. We see Superman, that's all we know, that's all we want to see. So what has happened is that the vision from the divine feminine has been stunted because the masculine and the feminine are not harmonious. So there's a resistance to envisioning a new world. There's a resistance to envisioning a city that doesn't have a Marshalls and a Costco and a Sam's
Everywhere.
everywhere. It's the same thing over and over. And all we like is what we see, and we can't see because the feminine has been stunted because of the lack of the harmonious support in the divine feminine and masculine. So the vision is not coming from her. So the masculine cannot build it because so we're all being stunted. He can't build and we can't see.
If you're a conscious investor looking to make a difference, you need to hear about Aluka Gold. Because doing good and doing well isn't just a dream, it's our promise. Let's face it, everyone wants their money to work harder. But what if your gold investment could do double duty? Aluka Gold is more than just precious metal. We're committed to ethical sourcing and total transparency so you know exactly where your gold comes from, and who it helps. Every ounce you invest helps support real miners and their communities with humanitarian projects and fair wages. That's not just good business, it's good for the world. You get solid, physical gold, plus the pride of knowing your investment brings hope and opportunity to families who need it most. So why settle for ordinary returns when you can spark extraordinary change? Invest with purpose. Invest with Aluka Gold. Do good, do well, and let your gold investment shine brighter than ever.
I got something on this. As you were speaking, I was looking at how the imagination has been hijacked, and although we're not working directly with the divine feminine, we're still tapped in. In essence, we connected to vision, and I can see where anti-life is using us against us, but in the most distorted way,
Yes.
the most degraded version of the feminine and the masculine to take action on low level things, to visualize low level things, and then of course contain or sustain this limited matrix reality.
It's in visualizing and maintaining what already is, but the potential for what has not yet been exists.
Yeah.
It exists within the divine feminine and masculine, and we must come together for there to be a new world. Otherwise, it's just a re effect of all of the things we've already seen. It's going to be, all the same stores, all the same characters, all the same things over and over and over again. It makes us smaller and smaller and smaller when we're meant to be cosmic, galactic, universal. But we have because of the tampering with the divine feminine and masculine, we have not come together harmoniously in a way that will allow the vision from the source that has everything, and then the direction and building from the source that can build anything. So it's essential that we remember who we are, that we pay no attention to what has happened over the last many million years. Whether it's in India or otherwise, it
Yeah.
is not meant to be a fight. It is the same thing. Is there supposed to be war between one side of your brain and the other?
No, damn it. Then you would be messed up. But it's happening, you know. We're experiencing grave incongruency, miasms. What do you call it when you do one thing and you go that way? What happens to the mind?
Yeah, you have a aneurysm
Aneurysm.
because you're
Yeah.
holding two diametrically opposed ideas at the same time. We are not meant to be singular. It is not those who worship the divine feminine in and of itself without understanding it's one of two parts of creation are not in honor of creator. Creator created two parts.
So let's speak a little bit about this. There's two aspects of this that I want to speak to, no pun intended. Where we had a conversation and you were speaking about how they have all these different movies and films like Highlander, there can only be one, or Neo, there can only be one, Jesus, there can only be one, you know, that's one, 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 and it's always a male with a penis. One, 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 right? And so I see the limitation in that where it stops us from operating as whole. So I kind of want to speak on that too. But then the secondary idea, actually, but yeah, before we even go there, let's just expound on this because you were the one who really like you raised up like there can only be one. She did that, and this idea of wholeness. Would you expound on like what has happened to us where there is this sense of competition between not only the masculine and the feminine, but we are in competition with everyone. It's as though because of the severing of the or breaking of the law of gender, which is directly associated with masculine and feminine energies, we are suffering not only within the polarities, but we're suffering as a collective species, humanity, where we fighting against each other and like we're the only ones outside of nature that can't get right. Would you speak on that?
Well, and nature is affected by our imbalances. So the principle of one mind, which is a class that we'll be teaching coming up, the idea of that we are one, the early inhabitants of the earth plane understood that we are all one with aspects of other things. That is a fundamental understanding that, we are the grass, we are the snails, we are the lizards, we are the, birds, that there is no I am the only one.
Yeah.
It is that we have different expressions to make the picture beautiful. And so the thought that there can only be one is just
See
mass
what I mean?
separation.
Dude,
It's just more of the separation. The reality is together we are stronger. The two polarities cannot birth a new world without each other because creation made it such. Creation and creator made two polarities of the same thing, father, mother, child. If we want to birth something, we want to birth a book, we want to birth a new idea. If we need to birth a new world right now where integrity, discipline, and action are honored instead of, you ask somebody something, they're like, why are you asking me? What do you want me to do? Why you want me to take the garbage out? All of that. All the things that we all deal with because nobody has been told who they are. Nobody knows, what their role is because it has been obfuscated. It has been and it has been diminished.
yeah.
Nobody told you that you're in charge. You direct the divine feminine energy that has within it the vision. But it is there for us to see it when you understand it. When you hear it, you're like, yeah, that's right. The person envisions the temple and the masons come and build it.
I got a question for you, and then one more after this because I want to make sure that we leave the people with some practical action because they're probably listening saying, "How can I anchor in my masculine, my feminine of the divine, and be in greater balance and harmony and wholeness, and bring that forth?" A matter of fact, our camera lady, she does transmissions, and one of the things that she saw was that when we have that level of balance of masculine and feminine, we can give that to another. We can literally have that level of influence via the field. So this is a very powerful concept, hence why anti-life has done everything that they can to keep us from operating in harmony, right? Division and separation, divide and conquer. So, question, well, I'll start with a statement and question. Remember, I mentioned to you about this concept of the kingdom and how within the kingdom, everybody wants to build their kingdom. It's as though no one wants to be support of the kingdom itself. It's like, all right, I want to use the supplies of the kingdom and make my own kingdom and be by myself. That can kind of be equated to the idea of the nuclear family, white picket fence, separation from our tribe. Or it could even look like I want to take resources from the feminine or the masculine and just do my own thing, or that idea. I'm saying this to show that I see where the idea of polarities of visionary and builder, it's been skewed in many different dynamic relationships. Would you expound on that?
Well, and I think the thing in this, everything you said is absolutely so. But I think what we need to know is that there's variance. Like, I'm the divine feminine, but I have within me the ability to direct because I'm part of that
This
polarity.
is actually where I'm heading, because
Yeah.
it's in some cases the feminine may need to pull out her divine feminine. In some cases, the masculine may need to pull out his divine feminine. So I can see where, depending on the circumstance,
We have it.
we have to honor it.
We are both with capable. It's just like, again, I like the analogy of the brain. We are both capable of each thing. However, we sit in the seat of our power as the divine feminine in our vision. We sit in the seat of our power in the divine masculine as the one who can interpret the vision and make it be. You can bring in the masculine, brings into manifestation the vision or the blueprint that the divine feminine has. Both are powerful, powerful experiences. However, without both pieces, we're in a perpetual buffering. The divine feminine resists her vision to relegate it to whatever has already happened before. Whatever movie was already written, we're just going to rewrite it. The hero story will be written 1,000 times, the same old story. Everything is always the same over and over again because the feminine resists envisioning what has not been built or what is not, people are unwilling to build. So, and those who are builders are unwilling to honor the vision. So we're at a stalemate now. And the thing that too with for the divine feminine would be begin to start imagining, begin to go into vision, start seeing what would the world look like. If you could build the world and you were in charge, what would it look like? What would be the best for everyone? And then for the masculine to imagine that you have the power to direct the new world and build it however it is that would be best for everyone from the blueprint of the love of the divine feminine. There are characteristics in each aspect that need to be the integrity, the discipline, the order that must be in building, the love and the devotion that must be in the vision. Those are characteristics that we can't get anywhere else. The law of genders that has that there, but there's a range. Not everybody is completely on one end or the other. There's much in the middle as well, which is quite excellent because we may get to have both experiences to varying
I
degrees.
want to give an example without going too deep, because I'm like, oh, I can see the nuance in everyday life. Like, for example, you have two partners, like builders, like they have a project. Let's say both of them are male and one has the vision, one executes. It's like this idea of the polarities still play out
Yes,
in whether it's female, female, male, male, because it's a principle, not just like
it's a law.
exactly.
It's a law. And because it's law, it has breadth and depth
And
because it contains all of the options. So you can be, it's like you have a family with 6 children And there's 6 different expressions of the 6 children, and they're all very different. They're not the same, but there is this one thread that runs through the family genetics that you can see, but each person is not the same person. Everybody doesn't want to play the violin because one person does.
Yeah.
Or even if they do, they
Yeah.
play it differently.
Somebody just want to listen to the violinist while someone play. Like it's like
Yeah, there's different expressions. And that is the truth in the creativity. It's that analogy of everybody's a snowflake. So there's a range within there. So no one is cookie cuttering, putting somebody in. Well, you have to be this way. You have to be. We're saying like, look, open up the box. The gift keeps giving. The vision from the pool of all of the ingredients is available if you want to envision. The ability to direct the world into beings by building exists. This is glorious. It's a glorious outcome. But we don't know that we're glorious, and we don't know that we have the vision. We're stifled by the replication of having history erased and rewritten, and it's still all written at the same level, and then they keep erasing it and rewriting it, and we don't know. We no longer know who we are, but we're bringing it forward today.
well, certainly. I think this is a very beautiful vision
Yes.
that you have, and it shows an example of what is possible when we're operating more whole inside. I want to give a recommendation for those who are watching. We do have energy hygiene practices. And on the home page of thesun.com, we'll have a link in the description. Under the evolutionary practice tab, you'll see meditations, and there are a list of different practices, but within the rising and night practices, we have an activation for calling forth the divine feminine and the divine masculine, inviting these energies into your life. We have been large proponents of the feminine for quite some time. We're like, all right, let's bring that masculine into gear. All right, let's bring that harmony of the both polarities because this is what is needed. Obviously, you have a male and a female.
Yeah.
Harmonize, synchronize.
And this is quite on purpose and by design. Hold on to the other end of your polarity. You're encouraged to see who you are so that you may see who everyone else is. And call forth the power of the divine feminine and the divine masculine to arise within you from its original intent. We thank you so much, and we know that you're going to do a card
Yes.
pull, and can't wait to see it.
Asking to see the truth that is needed to be heard regarding the divine feminine and the divine masculine.
And the card is
The theme freedom. And the maxim reads, if your hands are closed, you will not receive. Let go of whatever you think you have so that you can receive more.
yes, that's so wonderful because what we just said is so much more than we ever knew was available and possible. It's so much more. Let go of whoever you think you are so you can get some more of it.
Well, certainly.
Thank you. We hope that you will come and see us again. We'd like to leave you with the greetings of Inlakesh and Veritas with honor, respect, and gratitude to you. Thank you.